The RPG After Years is part of the We Can Make This Work Probably Network. Find out more at probablywork.com.
Hey, this is Bobby from the Effin' Cultured podcast. Join me and my friends every week as we talk about all things pop culture and usually end up in crazy conversations like this.
You know how many dick pics a murder hornet can carry at once? A whole satchel.
Caligula, hashtag worst girl.
I'm not wearing a mask, and these are not fucking pickles.
The big book of Little Richard orgies.
Hey, baby, let me be your ghost light.
I ain't gonna leave box 5 empty, if you know what I mean. Hey, hey.
Ford Theater's not the only one where presidents get shot.
Roll them up in a carpet, wrap it in saran wrap, dunk it in chocolate, throw it in a cave, fill it with concrete, and wall lead.
Bang!
butter.
Easter candy. Done.
Easter candy. That's where Easter.
My
candy
favorite
comes
Easter
from.
candy is the host.
Find us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts and get yourself effing cultured.
Welcome to the RPG After Years, your weekly show covering all things RPGs from the past, present, and future. This is episode 93. I'm Scott.
And I'm Rich.
Coming up on today's episode, we will be finishing the review we started last week. That's right, we're reviewing the 2007 Xbox 360 action role-playing classic that spawned an entire franchise.
It's BioWare's Mass Effect.
Since this is a review episode, we won't be doing all of our normal segments. No news, no Patreon talk, no tea time, no catch-up. Just some straight-up review goodness. But before we hit that up, here are some quick show updates. Rich, what's the status there on the RPG Club?
Well, Scott, the status in the RPG Club is that we have not have a game yet. We currently don't have a game. There's no checkpoint. There is no due date. So basically, if you're wondering to yourself what the RPG Club is, it's basically where our patrons pick a game and we all vote on, and then we break it up into sections and talk about it, and then do a final review, just like we're doing now. Just so you know, voting has begun. So we've got a list. We're ready to go. Voting will close on Sunday, December 26th, and the winner will be announced to everyone that day. The next RPG Club will begin on Sunday, January 9th.
Kicking off the new year, right?
Oh, yeah.
So just so it's clear, our patrons are the ones that nominate and vote on the games, but the RPG Club is open to everybody. So it's time to get in now. And if you want to jump in on the Patreon, then even if you miss nominations, you can still vote. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And for those curious, here are the nominees. Ben has nominated Golden Sun. Bill has nominated Suikoden 2. Brandoken has nominated Legend of Dragoon. Corey nominated Scarlet Nexus. Disa nominated Dragon Quest VIII. Frost did Tales of Vesperia. JS did Chrono Trigger. Kabatsky said Valkyria Chronicles 1. Kazlo wants Breath of Fire 3. Lauren wants Disco Elysium. Mini BT wants Chris Tales. Rich, you nominated Star Ocean, The Last Hope. Rob K did Final Fantasy 13, and I nominated Yakuza 0. So one of those games is our next club game.
I've nominated my game like 5 times.
What are you hoping wins?
Really hoping. I kind of want. I want Star Ocean. I really do. But I mean, 13's been nominated so many times that I'm kind of excited to see that one win.
Yeah. I really want to play Yakuza 0. That's why I nominated it. But I don't think it's going to win. So
yeah. Well, Caslo has nominated Breath of Fire 3 several times as well.
One day, Caslo. One day.
Yeah. One day we'll win.
Maybe. But that's it for what's going on with the club. As far as RPG releases, not a lot going on here at the very end of the year. Moon came to PS5 and PS4 on December 16th. Record of Lodos War, Deedlit, and Wonder Labyrinth came to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and Switch on December 16th. But what's coming up this week?
There is a big whopping list of nothing, followed by nothing.
No RPGs this coming week.
Nope.
Sorry, guys. Enjoy time with your family and Christmas festivities and all that. Use this time to catch up on your backlog, maybe.
Yeah.
But with all of that out of the way, let's board and hit up the nearest mass relay station to blast back into the review. Okay, so last week we covered the story and the development history of the game. This week we're going to be talking about the gameplay and our final ratings. So before we jump into like each individual aspect, what's kind of like your overall feelings about how the game plays, Rich?
I mean, it plays all right for a 360 game. It plays decently enough for a base line of the series.
Yeah.
So obviously the movements are the same. The shooting mechanics are good. The hacking was kind of dull, but overall, it seemed fine.
Before you played the game, what were you expecting going in?
Star Wars?
just like a generic Star Wars game.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting an exploratory kind of game, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Based on what I had seen before, because I have watched some people play a little bit here and there of the series, I think I was expecting it to be more tactical than it ends up being. And maybe that's my fault or Corey's fault, but you can mostly win most situations just by pointing and shooting. You don't have to stop and do strategies and do turn-based. I mean, not really turn-based, but pseudo-turn. They tried to build in like a pseudo-turn-based system to the combat, and it's not really that way. But yeah.
Nope.
But that's we'll go into more details about that in a little bit. So I've got things split into non-combat and combat aspects of the gameplay here. We're going to start with non-combat. So the very first thing you do in the game is you customize your shepherd. So how did you feel about the actual how your character looks? Like, how well do you think they did on that?
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
I tried to make it look like you because I thought it'd be kind of funny. No, it did not turn out that way. He looked grotesque.
Bill made his guy, and it ended up looking a lot like me as well, which I guess it's pretty easy. I don't know if that means I look like a terrifying Mass Effect character, or if they just made it particularly easy to make people that look like me. But
probably the other one, because it was. I mean, his eyes are bug-eyed, and I was just like, oh.
My
oops.
character is also slightly terrifying. They look a little better in motion than they look if you just send somebody like a screenshot. But I don't really blame people for sticking with the default Shepard appearances.
I should have. I wish I did, but I didn't. So I was sad.
I'm very curious if in Mass Effect 2 they give you the ability to like import your character appearance, or,
yes.
or is it?
Yes, you do.
A chance to change anything, or
I think if you could just start a whole new game. But yeah, if you import your character, I think it imports everything.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I'm stuck with my terrifying purple-haired goon for the rest of the series. But that's fine. I think there's even a trophy in the Legendary Edition for sticking out like all 3 games of the same character.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Fancy.
It's not just your appearance you can customize. You can also do the gender, which I think female shepherd was not originally a thing in the first game.
No. Correct. It was not.
Did they add that with 2 or 3?
I think 3.
Okay. That's interesting that they waited that long, but but you also get to pick your character's first name. I just remembered. which we've never actually talked about on the show. What did you name your shepherd?
I think it stuck to Shepherd. Yes, it did. I kept Shepherd.
Well, no, but you get to pick their first name too that never gets spoken aloud. Because Shepherd's the last name.
I think I picked Rich.
Rich Shepherd. I like it.
I think I did.
I named mine Sabin after Sabin from Final Fantasy VI. Even though I don't really like that character, I do think that's a really cool name. So, Sabin Shepherd. You can also pick their military background, like if they grew up in the slums or were they like a war hero, that type of thing. I think we talked about that a little bit on a recent episode, that it does change some of the dialogue at times with certain scenes.
Yep.
And yeah, but I think that's about it. The customization process, if you're really trying to go for it, it can take like 30 minutes or something like that. I know some of our listeners actually went ahead and did the customization before the club started, just so they could jump right in when it was time.
It's a lot of customization. It really is.
I wonder if they add more in subsequent games. And we got Frost in the Twitch chat that says they introduced the theme femship with Part 2, Mass Effect 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You also get to pick your character's class, which I didn't do a whole lot of research into. So I think Soldier is like your basic third-person shooter class. And then you've got like more magical classes, like an Adept gets a lot of... what are they called? Like Mass Effect powers or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Or like just bionics and psionics or whatever.
Bionics, right. Thank you. And then I picked Vanguard because I didn't want to just be a boring soldier. And so Vanguard's like a in-your-face attacker, but also gets some bionic shit. What'd you pick?
I picked Vanguard as well.
Nice. So we both chose correctly.
Yes.
Although I heard a couple of the listeners picked Adept, and apparently that was a lot of fun. I think maybe Skeleton House did that. Apparently there are specializations where like your classes evolve into a stronger class, like Bastion, Commando, Medic. I didn't know about this, or I didn't explore that at all.
I don't think I did either.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
There's no like super boss or anything. So
No.
There's Sentinel, which is apparently a skill slinger, but they lose their shooting capabilities. Engineers, which is give you better tech for all the hacking and stuff like that. But yeah. There's also experience points or talent points, which lets you you assign that to it's not like really a skill tree, but it's more like deciding what aspects of your character you want to level up. So like your shooting or your reload speed, or more technical things like your hacking, or you can put it towards your Paragon or Renegade negotiating skills, which unlocks more conversation paths. And a lot of times a successful outcome is blocked behind those conversation paths.
Yep. Which I didn't invest a lot into conversational stuff. I wish it did, because I probably could have saved Rex.
Yeah.
But I really put most of mine in the Spectre training, and then the ability to have a good amount of health, and my sniper, because I used my sniper a lot. Now, kind of gripe here about the experience points. I don't really remember, like there were times I leveled up like a crap ton and I didn't realize it. And I went back and I had like 30 points. I had to go spend.
What was that?
That would be the game's fault. It's not my fault.
I like this
game's fault.
Deflecting. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I had the same issue though, because like I would sometimes go and check out the skill tree or whatever you want to call it. It's like, oh, I haven't looked at this in 3 hours, and then I have 30 points, which is nice, but also I did put points towards the negotiation. I prioritized that because I wanted to be able to, if I got to a side quest that could only be, resolved with the conversation pass, I didn't want to miss out on that. Okay, so Frost says, correction, you could always have a female shepherd in all 3 games, but the iconic femme shep was settled on in 3. Okay, so I guess her default appearance. Yeah. I think I remember talking about that a little bit, to where they had to like go back and really brush up how well femme shep compared to male shep. So there are also shops in the various towns and stuff you can go to. Did you do a lot of shopping?
I never touched the shops once.
Wow. Okay. It's
not
weird
once.
Because when you go shopping, I always felt like, even though I was doing side quests, like the first half of the game, I could not afford anything. Couldn't afford shit.
That's why I avoided it.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing. I looked at it one time. I went there and it was like, for a new sniper rifle, it's like 50,000 credit. I'm like, I don't have that shit. So see ya. Yeah, $50. What can I get with $50 and some string?
You get a bullet.
Yeah.
What a bullet.
And I get to shoot you with it.
Yeah, right. Then the thing is, in the second half of the game, I had more credits than I knew what to do with. So it was like very unbalanced, kind of. I think I ended with like the maxed out wallet, like 99,000 or whatever it maxes out at.
Damn.
But at that point, you don't really need it that much. So
No.
Yeah.
I never bought stuff.
Yeah.
I found most of the stuff.
Yeah, and if you never bought stuff, that just proves that you don't really need it. It's a useless system.
Yeah.
So you also have got the Galaxy map, which has the one piece of music that is actually good in this game. I'm just kidding.
Sure.
Kind of, not really. And how that works is you kind of have like you're looking at the Milky Way galaxy, and then you could see a bunch of the different systems, like the Andromeda system and the, whatever, Artemis Tower or whatever the hell it's called. You click the system you want to go into, and then it zooms in, and then you're in that system, and then you pick which galaxy in that system or whatever you want to go to. Zoom in again, and then there's 3, 5, 7 planets you can click on, and each galaxy has one planet typically that you can land on, and it's either a story planet or a side quest planet. And then you can also click the planets, and you can survey a lot of them, and it's like, oh, you found some iridium on this planet, and that's the extent of the surveying system. Which, if you'll remember, they talked about it in the development history last week, where it was like a complex surveying system, and we were like, you literally click the button, you click on the planet, and you're done.
Yeah, it's so lame.
It is cool, though, that they give you like a detailed description of each planet.
I got time to read.
Yeah, I didn't read
I got a galaxy to save.
I think it's cool, but I only read about the planets you can actually land on. So,
How did you do that?
ROB says, it's a complex button to push. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can miss it.
One thing that annoyed me, though, about the map was anytime you go from system to system, there's a quick loading screen instead of it being a very fluid, like zoom in, zoom out thing. And it kind of made it annoying to use the map, honestly.
PS5, it's quick.
I know, it is quick, but it's still I just wish it was fluid,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Way to be, Scott. You can complain about waiting 3 seconds.
I'm nitpicking here. Yeah.
I know you are. I get it. It's a pain.
Yeah. There's also the Normandy, which is basically your hub of the game. You can run around. There's not much to do here other than talk to characters. And there's a shop in here too, but
there's a shop in there?
Yeah, it's by the guy that stands by the Mako, I believe.
Again, see, missed it.
Well, it's not
This
any
game
cheaper than other shops, so.
No, the Normandy, I was a little disappointed in the Normandy, to be honest. It was a big ship on, when you're out looking around on it, it's a pretty decent size cruising ship, but there wasn't a lot of places to go.
No.
Like I was expecting, living quarters. I was expecting more people to be on there. But it looked like the ship was piloted by like 12 people.
Yeah.
And that was it.
If they add on to it at all in the sequels.
I don't know,
but yeah, basically the only thing you could do here is talk to people. And this is one thing I really hated. So they introduced these cool characters outside of your main squad, such as like Joker and Dr. Chakwa's Engineer Adams. They, beyond your initial conversation with them, their dialogue does not change for the remainder of the game. And
they got one thing to say. They're robots.
Yeah, apparently. And it was so disappointing because I thought Dr. Shock was awesome. Joker, you got Seth Green in the pilot's seat, and you learn about his backstory from the beginning of the game, and then he doesn't matter again for the most part. He does some cool piloting.
Well, I think doesn't he get more later on?
I don't remember that. If so.
Huh.
Frost says there are more random crew members in 2. You can even have a drink with Dr. Shockwave. Okay, I'm looking forward to 2 then.
Yeah, but we're not talking about number 2. We're talking about Mass Effect 1.
Yeah. Between story missions, a lot of times your main squad members do get like a whole slew of new dialogue. I think Corey actually got a little frustrated by it because if you had the full conversation with every squad member between missions, it can take like an hour to get through.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. Or at least it felt that way.
Again, don't have time for that.
It's cool getting the backstory though. I know a few of the characters like Rex and Garrus. They have like one side quest associated with them that you get through these conversations.
No, I didn't do any of that.
If you don't do Rex's side quest, I think you have to have like really good persuasion to be able to save him. But if you do, you
R.I.P. Rex.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
But yeah, that's basically it for the Normandy. Your Mako's down there, but you can't do anything with it.
Why would you want to?
Yeah,
get in and just blow a hole in the ship?
Yeah,
what are you talking about, Scott?
Yeah. I know. I remember Skeleton House said he wanted to hear from more about what Chief Engineer Adams and Tolly were doing down there in the brig or engine room, because when they first talk to them, they talk about all kinds of interesting skills that Tolly has. But yeah.
No, she's the one with the gas mask, right?
Right.
Yes, okay.
The Quarian. The only Quarian you meet. I wonder if you meet more in the sequels. They
made her so like sexualized in it. It was kind of weird. They put her a gas mask and then she had a smoking body. I'm pretty sure that she has she's a romanceable option in one of the sequels. I think so. I think if it's 2, I might go for her in 2. But if it's 3, I got to go for Caden's ass. So I love it. Scott Shepard is I go all directions. It doesn't matter. Exactly. I'll find you. But your main goal is to get after Caden. I'm going to get me some of that. Yeah. Frost says Tolly is the best romance. Okay, that's interesting. Well, I wonder why. I wonder why she's the best romance. Maybe he just really likes Tolly. All right. I get that. So the other major area you can roam around at, and that's not really combat related, is the Citadel, which is actually pretty sprawling, I would say. It's kind of like other than your ship, your hub world. It's got several shops around. There's like a titty bar. There's the Citadel Tower. You got the concierge place, the ambassador offices, the docks, CSEC. It actually takes quite a while to get your bearings there and figure out where's what, even though there's signage, like where everything is. How'd you fare? Yeah, I got lost. Yeah. I got lost a lot. That stupid freaking map sucked. Oh, yeah. I did spend a lot of time in the titty bar. Of course you did. I'm just kidding. I didn't. I did not go. Like, I forgot it was even there. Was it the bar that where you meet Rex at first? Was that the bar? So. I think so. And they were like a little bit of dancing going on. You're like, hey, this seems sketchy. Somewhere. You can actually like sit down at the titty bar and they get the exotic dancers dancing in front of you. You can like, maybe this is the grotesque, sodomy at the press of a button that the Fox News guy was talking about. I guess, but if I remember correctly, they don't show much. Yeah, no, they don't. Okay, so this would be kind of funny. Not really funny, but But if you get to sit down in this strip club and you do you throw money at them? Yes. And your character throws money at whatever's dancing in front of you. You have the option to be the grotesque, shepherd, like commanding shepherd, or you can be the polite one, however you want to do that. You have an option how to be a good strip club patron. They should have put you in charge of that mechanic, Rich. No. No, because I would have an option where the stripper shoots shepherd for being a dick. I'm glad you brought this. Oh, ROB says, got to spend a lot of time at the titty bar. You got to remember what you're fighting for. I guess. Yeah. But I'm glad you brought up the minimap, though, because I don't think I actually listed it here. The minimap sucks. That was the worst thing ever. It's useless. It doesn't show you anything. It shows you an exclamation mark if there's a point of interest, and it shows you your position, but it doesn't show you the actual map. You've got to actually open the map and look at it in your menu. It's a waste of time. Figure anything out. Yeah. I got lost so much in the Citadel. Even after I'd done all the side quests and really gotten to know it, I would still be like, now, which way do I go? A lot of the time. Yeah. I didn't explore the Citadel as much. Now, I have heard that in the sequels, you explore different areas of the Citadel. So we're not going to go back to the same part of the Citadel in 2, for example. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it did kind of burn down, but oh yeah, it did. It was there's some remodeling that happened. Yeah. So there's lots to see and do in the Citadel, and if you do it all the first time you're there, you really never have a reason to go back other than story purposes. So that brings us to the conversations. So basically, if you've ever played a BioWare game, this will probably be pretty similar to you, but you go to and talk to an NPC, and you got 3, 4, 5, 6 options you can pick.
And apparently the dialogue wheel was a new innovation for this system, where you always knew like the top right option is going to be the polite one. You always know the bottom right option on the wheel is going to be like your aggressive, kind of rude option. And then on the left, you can click that, and then that'll open like more dialogue options to get like more information out of the NPC. So how did you feel in general about how this conversation system worked?
I did like it. I thought it was a good way to progress the conversation, where it's not just one set deal where it's just auto played out. You had the options of being, nice, mediocre, and then you had an option to be a complete dick. And then how all that shapes together, that's a pretty neat little item there.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think sometimes it could get a little bit too verbose, like with the conversations that would take 20 minutes, or the plot dump at the end with Vigil. But
oh, God,
overall, I liked it. The only thing I didn't like, I guess, would be sometimes you would pick something that sounds a certain way, and then Shepard would say it in like a way more mean fashion or direct fashion than the option actually sounded before you picked it, or vice versa,
Yeah. I would love one option that every NPC character that you talk to, if Shepard is a complete dick and is it the renegade option?
Yeah.
If your renegade is like completely maxed out because you're a dick, and you're just overall bad person, that if you are a complete dick to the person, that NPC character literally will stab you.
That would be
just
fun.
Either stab you or punch you.
Yeah. So that does lead into the Paragon Renegade system that we kind of already talked about. But so you can put points into these persuasion tactics, and Paragon makes you like a hero. Heroic options, Renegade makes you like kind of a bully. And I think it
Renegade.
It doesn't really affect the way the story goes, though, overall, I don't think. Because
I wish it did.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the ending can change dramatically based on the options you choose, but I don't think that's really related to the Paragon Renegade.
No. I mean, a few different changes that you choose, like, let's say, what was it? Exogeny, like between those, if you pick those characters that die or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the only thing. And then if you pick the Arachne Queen to live and get shipped off, I mean, I think those things affect later on down the road in the games themselves, overall story, but not like Mass Effect 1. You won't see those effects.
I guess it's just something that's sort of added in there for fun. Like I know Frost said that on this playthrough of the game, he was just a complete dick to everybody and always went the Renegade option and chose violence at whatever opportunity.
I think it'd be hilarious that you're talking to a character and it just hauls up and stabs Shepard. It's like, you know what? We're tired of his reign of tyranny. He's a dick. The ship can't run properly. He's yelling at us.
Yeah.
Just mutiny. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So, speaking of the conversations, there are side quests. Usually, if you're out in space, like I said, you land on a planet and you get to run around, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the gameplay. But there's also, you get a few collection side quests. So like collecting minerals, which is about as exciting as it sounds.
I don't remember that.
You can scan rocks deposits that you find on planets to collect minerals. And a lot of times you get the minerals just by scanning a planet, like we talked about on the map earlier. There's stuff like Asari artifacts you can collect, which are basically just, glorified side quests. Not a whole lot exciting about them.
So you're a geologist?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just making sure.
About as exciting as scanning for iridium.
Yeah.
And then there are also some side quests on the Citadel itself that don't require you to leave and go find a planet. Like I remember you can resolve the Asari woman that runs the escort service. She has an issue that you can go track somebody down for, and there's like an Volus information master that you can go and do some conversations with. But they're interesting, but they don't really amount to too much, I guess.
They're more of your conversational fetch quests, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, you go here, talk to this person, go there, talk to that person, come back and talk to me, resolve the problem, quest ended. So, I mean,
yeah,
that's about as in depth as I get.
2 or 3 of them that do result in a firefight, which is very rarely happens in the Citadel. But yeah,
it's probably Shepard's fault.
Yeah, probably needs to be staffed, like you were saying.
Yeah.
You got a journal in it. You can think of this as the data log, a la FF13, that just has tons and tons of lore in it. Almost too much lore, I would say.
Yeah, I never touched it because I got. If you're not keeping up with it, looking at the stuff as the story goes on, and like, okay, I left this area, the lore's popped up. Okay, let me go read it. You don't keep up with it, and you go back into it. That is very overwhelming. I did that.
Especially
and
at the beginning of the game,
stopped.
it feels like you're getting like a new piece of lore data dump every time you have talked to anybody about anything.
Yeah, because it talks about everything. It literally goes over every species, every main species, everything that's about the Citadel, the Mass Effect, the Mass Relays, the ships,
How
the Asari.
space
It talks
works and
everything. It's literally trying to get you to be wrapped up in the world by reading everything, so you're caught up before you leave the Citadel, which is a big problem in a sense, because that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. I do appreciate that the important entries are voiced, like the narrator just reads it to you. So,
I like that guy.
Yeah,
I like his voice.
yeah, it's pretty nice. I didn't enjoy reading about like the technical things, but I enjoyed like the stuff that expounded on the races, I guess, that telling you more about their culture and all that.
Yeah.
But there's not too much more to say about that. There's just a lot. I remember in the development history, they talked about writing like 80,000 words or some shit, and I bet like half of them are in the journal. So
Yeah, probably.
and then there's also hacking. So this is really simple. You can come up to like
Hacking.
chests or cabinets that you can unlock with your hacking skill. The higher your hacking is in your skill tree, the easier it is. And it also depends on what squad members you have with you. So Tali, if you have Tali with you, it's a lot easier, for example. But basically what happens is, it's like Simon says, like the square, triangle, circle, X buttons come up and you have to press it. One will light up and you press that button in a certain sequence.
Hacking.
Yeah. Even when it said like hard hacking, I didn't have any trouble at all. Did you?
No. That's why I was confused. I ran across a couple times and said, you don't have the skill high enough to hack this. I'm like, I have a gun. I can get in there.
Whenever that happened, which it was mostly just early in the game, it was like, bitch, try me. Let me try.
Yeah. Let me do this. Let me push these buttons in a correct order. Yeah. So I don't know. The hacking was fine. It wasn't essentially hacking like you've seen in most other games where it's like, okay, you need to connect these items, or it's a small little puzzle, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that it was easy. At least you didn't have to do like arrange this circuit board in a certain order to connect one end from the other. I'm thinking of Spider-Man. So, remember those?
Yeah, those are fun. I enjoyed those.
Yeah, but imagine there's a lot more opportunities to do the hacking in this game.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, have you seen Spider-Man yet?
No, I'm going today.
Nice.
I'm so excited. And we're going to talk about it.
Talk spoilers later.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Sorry. Side note. In case you guys know, Spider-Man Far From Home is available now. And No Way Home. Sorry. No Way Home. And I'm excited.
Me too.
It's my boy.
That's about all I could come up with for the non-combat aspects of the gameplay. So maybe I'll let you handle the combat a little more, Rich. Yeah,
definitely. So the combat, if you've played majority of the shooters, this is going to seem kind of repetitive in a sense. But, Mass Effect was a very third person over the shoulder type of shooter. So you had your weapon types, your basics, pistol, assault rifle, shotgun, sniper. Do you remember which one you used mostly?
I mostly, at the beginning of the game, I was doing pistol a lot because I enjoy being able to pinpoint aim and get headshots. In the second half of the game, I was more like assault rifle, just blast them away. Corey used a sniper.
See, I did not like... Yeah, I was with Corey. I did not like any of the other weapons. The pistol was okay. The assault rifle, to me, felt like it was just a big scatter shot approach. Mm-hmm. Shotgun was but I literally did the sniper with the assassination bionic deal, and I took things out quick. It was like, oh, big a monster enemy over there? Shoot. Bionic snipe, boom.
That the sniper rifle is still a perfectly viable option, even in close combat, I thought.
Oh, yeah. I used it. There was a couple times that one of the Geth ran up on me, and I just dropped it. Right, no scoped it. Just dropped it. I
did appreciate there's no ammo.
Yeah, that was nice.
You didn't
for now,
running out of ammo, just like a heat sink recharge thing. That was really
cool. That changes.
Yeah.
So
what do you mean?
Mass Effect 2, I think that changes.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite
think.
things about it. Okay, fuck that.
Yeah. But I don't think it's that bad. So your basic combat, obviously, you have your attacks, your bionics, and you have your melee attacks. Obviously, you can hit things if they come up to you.
Did you do that a lot?
A couple times when I needed to, but I just honestly kept forgetting about it because it wasn't really a mechanic that was really dependent upon.
Yeah.
So if you never use a button a lot, it's something like go back to Halo, for example. You know how we were playing either story mode or multiplayer, you're hitting stuff as it comes up because it's part of the combos. This doesn't have that. You don't really need that function to do much. So you just skip past it.
It was cool when you could like round a corner and there was a bad guy standing there. They don't know you're there and just, melee them from behind. And if they survive, just shoot them on the ground. But
yeah. I did like that. Sometimes if you hit them hard enough with bullets, then sometimes they'll fall down.
Yeah.
And you just shoot them from there. So it's kind of fun. Shield regeneration, obviously you have its standard shield protocol, as in, you have that level. And then once that's done, it goes into your health and that's where you'll die. That recovers every so often. Right? Yeah. So that one's not too over the top. You have the ability to upgrade your stuff to make it so the shield comes back. Taking cover. I hated this. I mean, I liked it that you could take cover, but sometimes you would suck yourself into a cover and it's like, okay, this is annoying. Or you go to take cover and you'd peek over and you're like, okay, I have perfect vantage from here. And you peek over and there's something obstructing your view. That was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I didn't think the cover system worked that well. It was too easy to stick to it, like you were saying, and it was impossible to I felt like it was hard to peek out and shoot from around the corner without exposing yourself. Which I know that's the point, but it was either like you have cover or you don't. There's no strategic peeking out and shooting or anything like that, a la Gears of War. Yeah,
well, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I'm terrible. Squad members. So the squad and stuff, you could actually make your characters do stuff, your squad, various things as, attack this, do this, you can do all that. That's where that pseudo turn-based system comes into play. But I never did that.
I never did it once.
Nope.
Except for when the game gives you the tutorial on how to do it.
Yeah, I didn't do it because I needed them to be bullet sponge.
And if they die, it's easy to bring them back with your regeneration ability or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Unity.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
I wanted them just to take the bullets.
They were good at it.
Yeah. So they take the bullets. I take the shots. I kill the monsters and I move on.
Yeah.
And then they get back up and we're friends again.
I wouldn't say that the AI was smart, but I would say that the squad AI was perfectly serviceable to where they did a decent job. The only thing that bothered me is occasionally the bigger characters like Garrus and Rex would get right in front of me and I couldn't see what I was shooting at.
Yeah, that's always a pain deal. Yeah. So the shields, we talked about the shields. You can have shields on you.
I think that's referring to the enemies, how they'll put up those Mass Effect shields that you have to shoot through to get to them.
That's it.
Yeah,
you just said it.
Pretty standard.
Metagel, Omnigel. So I guess I'm confused. Metagel is the health thing. What's the Omnigel? Because I never used it.
The Omnigel you can use to skip the hacking. It might be good for something else. I think it maybe also repairs the Mako, but maybe it does more than that. If that's all I'm remembering.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now I remember that. So I had a lot of Omnigel at the end because I dismantled some shit.
Right.
Never used it. I don't remember using it. I just didn't.
Early on, the early side quests, I used the Omnigel a few times on the Mako, but after, I guess maybe against the Thresher Maws, the giant ice worms or whatever you want to call them, they can be problematic sometimes, and you would need to heal. But other than that, the Mako's pretty OP.
Yeah, I mowed through stuff.
Yeah.
So talents, you have your barrier, your lift, your singularity, your stasis, your throw, and your warp. So barrier is you put a barrier on yourself. So it adds a little extra layer of protection. Lift is you lift things up. Singularity,
I don't lift them up and then they're suspended in the air and they can't do shit.
Yeah, good time.
Did you do it?
I never used it.
Yeah.
No. I didn't use much.
A few times just for fun. But yeah.
Nope. Did not use it at all. Stasis. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I didn't use it.
I know for the throw ability, I heard some people saying that those were super fun. You could just yeet enemies. I know, again, Skeleton House said he had a lot of fun with that. I think I would definitely lean more towards the adept stuff if I ever replayed the game, just to see what you can do with it. And it's cool that they added more options than just, shooting, but you don't really need it. So most of the time, it does make combat easier if you know what you're doing. But and then my favorite thing is the Mako, which is weird. I know a lot of people really hate driving the Mako, but the Mako is super fun to drive around on. I thought. I know you go to like these barren wasteland planets, and they sort of like you can drive the Mako around anywhere, and it doesn't really take damage even if you fall off a cliff. So sometimes I would just launch myself off cliffs just for fun because I thought it was funny. And you got the boosters. You also have like assault guns on the Mako. You can shoot like missiles or like a Gatling gun type thing. How did you feel about the Mako?
I liked it. I thought it was a good time.
I know a lot of people complained about the Mako. I didn't really get it. But yeah.
Why would they complain about it? I don't understand. Because it was overpowered.
I think people didn't think it handled well and thought it would get stuck easily. I have seen clips where it gets totally stuck on its back and just can't get up out of a little crevice or whatever.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
But that's one thing.
That never happened to me. There was a couple times where I was like kind of stuck in like a valley that it was hard to get the Mako out of, but I always managed to get out of it. I never had to like leave the planet or anything. There are environmental hazards occasionally, like at rooms that were really hot or really cold, stuff like that.
Really?
I don't really remember that though. Maybe it's referring to like the bombs and stuff, the mines.
I would probably think that it's more along the lines of some of the chemical stuff, such as or the barrels or fire hydrant, things like that. Because I use that to my advantage. Like if I had the enemies I couldn't get a hold of, I would do that if they were near stuff. And
explosive red barrels.
Yeah. And
things. Then, like I mentioned earlier, the side quests have a very cookie cutter template. You get dropped onto a planet, you drive the Mako around for a bit from point to point on the map. You eventually get to some kind of base, and there's only like 3 base layouts, so they all feel very familiar. And then you go in there and you have a firefight, and that's usually the entirety of the side quest. Sometimes if you're resolving another storyline with the side quests, it ends with like, you did it. Like a little 3-sentence blurb of text resolving the storyline.
Now, I have one last second part of combat that I wanted to talk about was the enemies. So there are multiple times that the enemies you're facing, they will barrel run at you, like bull rush you and get up in your grill. Like they could be down a hallway and you start shooting. It's just like, all right, I'm coming at you.
Yeah.
Did that happen to you a lot?
The Geth Colossi, or like the big Geth did that to me, and I died a couple times in like Vermeer because of that, or Alos or wherever.
It didn't matter what it was; it came running at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's because I was using the sniper rifle constantly or what, but it was just running straight at me, and there was a couple times I did die because of that. Because they run up on me and I wasn't able to. So, but by the time I got my sniper rifle charged up enough, like on the skills and a better one, I was able to knock them down, and shoot them all there on the ground. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
but that was the last bit of thing I wanted to talk about. Was kind of a pain in the butt. Was that type of mechanic?
It's okay. Whenever they did do that, I was like, oh, we going, huh?
Yeah, it was go time.
Yeah. But that's all the little individual aspects of the gameplay that we could think of. So overall, what would you say about the general gameplay? Like, how do you think it all comes together?
General gameplay, I would say, is a standard shooter type. There wasn't a lot of razzle dazzle to do the gameplay for the combat or non-combat. I feel like this is BioWare's attempt to get a little bit creative, but not overly complex. Because this was pretty ambitious project for them, I would say. Yeah,
you're right. I feel like there's not a whole lot. There is a lot of individual aspects to it, and I appreciated that they tried to make it a little different from a standard shooter because I'm terrible at shooters. But the way it all comes together, I would say it ends up being not falling flat, but just feeling pretty vanilla, I guess I would say. It's just,
which to me, I don't get how this game is such a popular thing.
maybe expectations were lower back then, or maybe people were just happy to have something a little bit different. I don't know. But
it just it boggles my mind. I don't know.
Yeah. But I've heard that the sequels get better. Like this is just like sort of like a jumping off platform, both in story and gameplay. So, yeah. Are you ready to move on and rate this bitch then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Alrighty, so our categories today are story, combat, non-combat, visuals, audio, overall feel, our bonus category, the final boss, and that's it. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. What did you think of the story, Rich?
Well, I mean, okay, so I was trying to think about that, how I was going to put that. The story's not terrible, but it does have a big problem where it dumps everything at the end. Mm-hmm. So that's an issue. I'm going to give the story at least a 6.
Okay.
Because it does have enough at the end to really grab your attention. I'm like, okay, this is bad. Something terrible is about to happen. We need to go fix this. And that was very intriguing on how this all plays out, and especially the ending of it. So that's why I would give it a 6. It's not terrible, but it's not something that it's like, ooh.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 7. I think I liked the story. I think it was perfectly fine. However, we mentioned the pacing issues last week, and you just brought it up too. If the whole game was as good as the story gets from Vermeer onward, I'd probably give it like a 9, but it's not.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they figured out, okay, what are we going to do? And problem now, go fix it. It's just basically it. So the story dump at the end was too much for us, I would say.
Yeah. All right. What about combat?
Combat, pretty bland. Shoot, point your gun, shoot it, do a couple little razzle dazzle stuff. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
It's not bad, but it's not over the top.
All right. I feel like the combat is just like the story, fine. Nothing too amazing about it. Nothing to write home about really either. And I'm not really a shooter guy. I think I'm going to stick with my 7 here, because I do appreciate that they did add in other ways to play with the biotics and all that, but I just ended up not needing them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Non-combat.
Well, so the non-combat definitely was we talked about the maps, the characters, the classes, blah, blah. It just wasn't memorable. I'm going to give it a 5 again. It's just, docked it a lot of points for the stupid map.
Yeah. Rich is taking the score on this thing. I actually like the non-combat. I think this is where the game shines. There are some annoying things, like you mentioned, with the map. But I liked being able to explore the Citadel, even though it wasn't laid out well. I liked having all the individual storylines. And I would say that driving around in the Mako falls here, which I did enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go an 8 on the non-combat. I'm nicer than you today. Visuals. So
the visuals on this one was actually, I thought these were pretty good. I liked the layout, because I played the Legendary the Legendary Edition, and it was very touched up. Now, I did go back and look at the original one, and oh crap, that was terrible.
Yeah, I never went back and looked at any of those.
Yeah, don't. I'm going to give this one a 7, because the visuals were pretty clean. I like the look of the characters, the monsters, the enemies, Saren, all that. Just don't look at Shepard, because Shepard looks grotesque. But I'll give it a 7. I think that's a pretty fair thing.
Even the default shepherds don't look great.
No.
I would say the game looks good. I don't like the reused maps, but and then a lot of the human characters are terrifying. But
It's like they don't know what a human looks like.
Yeah, which is weird because the aliens look amazing.
Yeah.
I love watching them talk and all their facial expressions and all that. I'm a little conflicted on this one. I think I'll also go with a 7.
Yes.
Which goes to audio.
Okay. I like the sounds. I mean, I like the music. I did like some of the characters they picked for the voice acting for the characters. The aliens matched the voices, the sound and the combat. All this stuff was good. I didn't like the sound of the weapons because that just got kind of annoying when they shot. They shot. It definitely sounded like they were trying to make lasers sounds. I just didn't really. I'm going to give that a 7 as well. I thought it was good. It wasn't stellar, but it was good.
Let's see. I am going to go with a 6 on this one. I think the voice acting is, except for there's a couple characters that have kind of flat performances, but for the most part, the voice acting is pretty good. The thing is, the music is totally unmemorable. Like I can only remember the one track, the Galaxy Map one. And of course I had to struggle to even think of, now, what music do I want to use for this review? I got to come up with 6 pieces of music. Does it have 6 pieces of music?
It did not.
Frost says, come on, Scott, there's no sound in space. It's true. But a good soundtrack is important to me. Sometimes I'll be kind if it's going for more of a cinematic style of music, which isn't my jam normally. But even here, I feel like it's totally unforgettable, or totally forgettable, rather.
Yeah.
But the sound and audio design is good, other than the music. Overall feel.
So I was not particularly a fan of this game, to be honest. It wasn't a memorable experience. I liked the ending of it was good. I liked the ending not because it ended, but I liked the ending because of what they did, how the story was told. But overall, it just really wasn't something that I would expect from being told constantly that this is top tier RPG. I'm going to give it a 4. I mean, it just was not that great to me. It just wasn't.
I didn't realize. I knew you weren't a huge fan of the game, but I didn't realize you were that down on it.
No, I mean, it's not that I'm down on it. It's just more of I was expecting it to be stellar because of what people have told me. There were people honestly bragging towards me saying, oh my God, this game is so amazing. It's, you got so much to do, blah, blah. I'm like, I finished the game in 10 hours.
Yeah. Well,
it really wasn't oh.
It took me a lot longer.
But you're different.
Yeah, I am different in a good way.
Yes.
I'm going to go with a 7. I thought the game was fine. It was good. It was serviceable. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I had a decent time with the game. And it's hooked me enough to where I do really want to get to the sequels at some point.
I mean, I want to as well too, because of the ending.
Yeah, just to find out where does it go from here, and see how our choices affect things further down the line. But yeah, so and then our bonus category, which again does not count towards the overall score at all, is the final boss, which I guess would be Geth Saren flying around on his hoverboard. What do you think?
He's honestly, that boss wasn't much. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. I am going to also. I'm going to say it's a pretty bad final boss. I'm going to say 3. So
there you go. It just didn't have much to it.
Yeah, nothing too inspiring about it. And honestly, I would have appreciated a little bit more of a cooler final boss. I only died once, and I know a lot of the people who played didn't die at all. So yeah,
I died once. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, so do you want to read off your scores, Rich?
I would love to. So my scores in the story, I've had a 6, combat a 5, non-combat 5, visuals 7, audio 7, overall feel 4, final boss 3, which gave my score 34 out of 60 and gave me the total of 57%.
Okay, so not great.
About mid-tier.
Yeah. I gave story a 7, combat a 7, non-combat an 8, visuals a 7, audio a 6, Overall feel a 7. Final boss a 3, which brings my subtotal to 42 out of 60, or a 70%, which is about how I feel. I think that reflects how I feel about it. Which brings the overall score for Mass Effect from the RPG After Years to be a 64%.
Nice.
That's a little bit too triumphant of the music for 64%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's probably about how we feel. I know there were some people that really liked the game. There were some people in the community that hated it. I think 64% is fair for this game.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit better about it, but our opinions were pretty divergent this time.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Or our scores, I mean. I like it when that happens, so.
Yeah.
I'll post myself in here saying where that makes it fall overall on our final list as far as what games we played, as well as how much of an RPG is Mass Effect based on our scientific formula of proven facts.
Yes.
Hey guys, it's Editor Scott coming to you from the future. I thought I'd pop in to let you know where Mass Effect has fallen on our top rated games of all time. So out of every game that we've ever rated, Mass Effect is pretty low on the list. It's our new number 50. That puts it below World of Final Fantasy and Disgaea 1, which are tied for our 48th position, and above the Final Fantasy Legend, which is our new 51 game. For just the RPGs, that makes it the number 32 game on our list. So actually pretty fairly low. As far as the RPG scale goes, it scored a 165, which makes it definitely an RPG, but maybe not super RPG. That ties it with Lundra, which also got a 165, but below Nier Automata at 175, and above God of War 2018 at 150. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, let's get into the listener feedback. We did solicit some opinions about this. First up is Brandon from the Enchantment Dragon Age podcast. He says, I'm happy I played it. The world is very rich and complex, and I'm hoping future games in the series utilize it in more interesting ways. Dragon Age is definitely more for me than Mass Effect, just because I can't help but compare the two. But hey, still was a good time.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Disa, a longtime listener of the show, Disa, very good friend. My final thoughts on Mass Effect. Fingers crossed for the next game. So, no, I'm sure it's a nice game. Just has no appeal to me, and even less so not being a list game. So she picks. She doesn't like this game.
Yeah, she didn't
even want to try it.
So, to be fair, I knew she wasn't going to want to, because it's just not her type of game.
Yeah. Kylie. So my thoughts, Mass Effect was it was a game that handled like a bad shooter and a mediocre RPG. The story was the best part, but you need to deal with everything else to get there. See, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Very mediocre. Skeleton House. Brett from the Skeleton House podcast says, the world is extremely fleshed out and interesting. The gameplay isn't the greatest, but they get the hang of it as the series moves forward. The Reapers are some of my favorite evil alien bad guys, especially how they're portrayed in Mass Effect 1 as unknowable forces of nature that harvest and reap galactic civilizations, because what the heck else are they going to do? The last chunk of the game is by far the best part, which is something I value in games. I'm a big mechanics guy, so having a game where my favorite parts are the conversations, specifically with Vigil and Sovereign, that's pretty cool. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that positive opinion. Frost says, I can't add anything to what Skelly said, other than it was awesome to be an intergalactic asshole. And I hope everyone has a chance to play Mass Effect 2, one of the greatest games of all time. Okay, well, there's some high praise from Frost.
All right, sounds good.
Now, is it ready for the diss track of the episode?
Yep, here we go. Let's do this. ROB. Thank God this game is over. The music was non-existent. I forgot if I ever heard any actual tracks. True. The characters, for the most part, were boring. I'm sure they were fleshed out in side quests, but why would I want to play more of this game? The cutscenes were all glitches, eye poking out of the heads. Characters weren't looking at the person. They were talking to the heads, just swiveling to the left and right, like nobody was home upstairs.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I've seen that a couple times. Combat was subpar. When there was actually any, I'm all for talking, but give me 10 options for random NPCs at time was just annoying. And the good choice, bad choice was non-existent. They were just different phrases of the same thing. One was just slightly more meaner 95% of the time. No real morality difference. The story of the game was interesting, but honestly, I went to Wikipedia and read the rest. And in the end, that's what I really think of this. It would make a great book, not so much a video game. That aside, I did like the character design. Locations were blah looking. I'm glad we're moving on to the next game. Let's start off 2022 with a great club choice. I agree.
He really hates it, but the thing is, I agree with most of what he said. I just, I think maybe our tolerance for this type of thing is a little higher. And then our final comment, Abrax says, I played Mass Effect 1 for the first time when the remaster came out. Not for the club, but I enjoyed it. I had heard for years that the gameplay/shooting was trash, so it managed to find a sweet spot of being better than I expected, but still bad. But I really enjoyed the story and the characters, Tali for life. I'd rank it below the other 2 games in the trilogy, but it's a solid game and a really good series. Okay, so we got like a hodgepodge here of differing opinions on it's a divisive game apparently.
Yeah, and ROB hates it.
Sorry.
So,
but like we were saying earlier, all the choices for this club I think are gonna give most people a good time. I hope anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, and I really want. If I know the game that's going to be picked, I'm excited for it because that's going to start off really well.
Yep. And you know what? I'm really glad we played Mass Effect because I wanted to play the series. I'm always looking as a RPG podcast host to expand my horizons. And now I can talk about Mass Effect whenever it comes up.
Yeah. Now, but the problem is you're going to talk about Mass Effect. And like, what about Mass Effect 3? I'm like, damn it. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
I haven't got there.
Who knows how long that'll take.
Yeah. It'd probably be a while.
Any final thoughts on Mass Effect other than what's been said already?
Like you said, I'm glad we played it. It's something that, that we wanted to do. This is the point of the club, to get ourselves out of the comfort zone with the original games that we normally play. To be honest, we all fall back to the same type of games we play, the same series and whatnot. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad it's over. Let's just, Mass Effect our way out of this freaking place.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. And so I'm going to adjourn the Mass Effect RPG Club for the final time. We will reconvene in January in 2022. So we'll see you guys then. But for now, let's move on to the outro.
In the Citadel's halls, inside the shining walls, hear the stories from Earth. Fighters want to prove their worth. Solarian science, smothered in idiom, about to stimulate an eye scanning for iridium. But one tale holds every mind enthralled. 'Cause no matter what scars you bear, whatever uniform you wear, you can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard. No matter what scars you bear, whatever uniform you wear, you can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. You can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. You can fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard.
Love that song.
I was going to say, you really love that song.
Yeah. Anybody that doesn't know, that is Commander Shepard by Miracle of Sound. I know it's not a track from the game, but I needed one more excuse to play that on the show. So
last time.
Yep.
For now.
Until we review Mass Effect 2 one day.
Yeah.
But that's it, everyone. Another RPG Club has been closed. As for next week, Well, we're actually off next week. We got the holidays
Yeah.
going on. I'm not even going to be in town. Rich is going to probably put out a little message for you guys or something along those lines. But the next episode will be recorded in the year 2022. Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. And then you want to remind us about the RPG Club one more time?
Great. So the RPG Club, definitely, guys, is the current game is nothing. The checkpoint is nothing. And the due date is nothing right now. However, voting will conclude December 26th, which is the day after Christmas. The club begins Sunday, January 9th. So be prepared, be on the lookout, and let's start this off with a bang.
For those that are listening live, the voting post on Patreon will be going live at noon Eastern time today. So keep your eyes out for it. Yeah. So moving on to our plugs. If you'd like to help out the show, one great way to do so would go to whatever podcasting service you have. If they have a review system, give us a nice high review. It helps out the SEO of the podcast and helps it reach more eyes, which we're always looking to expand our RPG community here.
Yes. We talked about this briefly a couple times. The Patreon is a great way to support the show and continue to do what we do here. Early episode access, ad-free episodes, the aftercast, extra reviews. RPG Club, like I said, is a very popular segment of the show. It's kind of evolved into its own little deal, and many, many more. So if you want to support the show, definitely go check that out at patreon.com/RPG After Years.
For those that don't know, we have a new benefit called it doesn't have an official title, but it's like Bill and I did an audio commentary on episode 1 of the Final Fantasy V anime, Legend of the Crystals, I believe it's called. It was something. So look for that coming out very soon, as soon as Bill gets it edited.
Nice.
You could also email the show, rpgafteryears@gmail.com. And yeah.
Yeah. And you forgot to mention it, Scott, but we do Twitch. We do Twitch.
Oh, I skipped that.
Did you say anything about the Twitch? You skipped the Twitch. It's okay. The Twitch. We are live every Sunday, generally at 9 a.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/RPG After Years. Now, if you can't get enough of, or if you haven't got enough of us and what we do during the week, definitely check out Scott on his own Twitch channel, where he has a growing community of people that talk about RPGs and various other things. Scott, what's your guy? What's your stuff?
/the_Scott_Spot. I haven't announced this yet, but I think I'm going to try to do a long stream this week since I'll be out of town for a week. So should be.
Oh my God, it's an 18-hour one? Because I will be there the entire time.
Hours.
I will be there. So it's a good time in there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's a good time in those channels.
Thanks for that shout out, Rich.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to reach out to the show, well, hang on. Now I'm trying to skip the Discord.
What are you doing? I know we want to go on vacation so bad from the show, but definitely while the show's not going on for this week, you can definitely check out the Discord. The link can be found in our show notes or a pinned tweet on Twitter. Come join the conversations. It's a very great time. The community is growing.
Absolutely. Now I can talk about Twitter. You can reach out to the show at RPG Years. If you want to reach out to me directly, I'm at the Scott Spot with no underscores this time.
Yeah, and you can find me at HailBlue1569.
Awesome. Well, that's it for episode 93. You guys can join us next week. Well, actually in 2 weeks for episode 94, in which we will do who knows what. Probably be a nice catch-up episode. Yeah. But until then, we're going to go save another galaxy. I'm Scott.
And I'm Rich.
Hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas, and let's start 2022 out right.
Yeah.
This has been the RPG After Years. We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
The beast has been slain. The world has been saved. Our heroes are basking in the after year. They rest in the tavern for all to hear. Their tale of victory and conquered fears. Revel in the peace that reigns through the land. All will know it was by our heroes' hands. Here in the after years. RPG after years.